The Bob TV Network presents, broadcasting live from the greatest city in the world, New York City. It's the Bobby Brown Show. And now here's your host, Bobby Brown.
Well, good evening, Facebook. How you doing today? This is Robert Bob TV Brown, the host of the Bobby Brown Show. And I'm going to focus on this topic right here and not too much else. But before we get into anything else, let's deal with this Andrew Yang situation. I've told you about Yang. I mentioned about Yang a million times. Andrew Yang is a byproduct of the Obama administration. He's a corporatist. Yes, he talks that game of populism. He want to use some of Dr. Martin Luther King's platform to try to get some support from progressives. And that's exactly all he did, was use the platform to get support from progressives. He's a corporatist. He's a Democratic corporatist. Egomaniac. Sure, he sounds like a cool guy to hang out. I had an Asian buddy when I was coming up named Roach. We were break dancers. Roach had a mean caterpillar, boy. Roach was cool. He was one of the boys. Roach saw himself as a black man, yellow and Asian as they come. He's from Vietnam, but he thought he was black. And you look at Andrew Yang and you say, this guy pretty cool. He pop up on here and pop up on there. He's on a cool TV show. He'll show up on the Breakfast Club. Seems like a cool guy. Guys, don't fall for this stuff. You got to look at who this guy is. You got to look at his business practice. You got to look at the things that he's done in his past. Andrew Yang is not even from New York City. I'm not from New York City. What I look like trying to run for mayor in a city that I'm not from. I've been in New York City a little over a decade. I don't care if I'm here 25, 30 decades. I don't qualify. I believe the best people to run New York are the people who were born and raised here. And there's so many people out here that's been in the gutters trying to save New York, trying to build New York into a beautiful place to be when it was grimy and guttery. They don't even get half. They don't get half. Not even a quarter, not even a half of a half exposures Andrew Yang got. Andrew Yang was running that presidential race. He knew he wasn't going to win. And you Yangites, you knew he wasn't going to win. He only did that because he was going to seek another position, political position. Mayor of New York, maybe mayor of Westchester County, where he lives. That's where I used to live. That's Yonkers. That's Mount Vernon. That's Westchester. Now, I could go into what he said about the Palestine and the Israel situation and, Hamas, blah, 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 and I could go into that. But look, I'm not even going to go to that. We all know that the government of Israel, no relationship to the people of Israel, rich Christian people, the government of Israel is not operating as a godly state. They are just as racist and aggressive as you can imagine. The hatred toward African blacks there is off the charts. The government. The hatred toward Palestinians, off the chart. Palestinians are people. Christian right. God love Palestinians. All Palestinians are not terrorists. You probably got a few, just like you got a bunch of terrorists in Israel. Heck, you got terrorists here in the United States. He ain't need to keep his mouth closed. It has tanked his career. I told you he would not be mayor from the jump start. Sure, he was leading in the polls, but I told you, polls on these news outlets, which 9 times out of 10 are being ran by the news outlets, are no different from polls in a stripper club. You get on it and you slide on down. You might turn around and look pretty in circles with your butt tucked out, but you're still gonna slide down eventually. And Andrew Yang is about to take a real deep down slide. Now let's talk about this subject and about two blacker than black, blickety blick black men are willing to bend the knee to save qualified immunity for law enforcement crimes. Two blacker than black men. One is a black Republican, suck up, buck dancer. He's the buck dancer champion on the right. Yes, sir, boss. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. RNC. And then you got one's the buck dancer on the left. Yes, sir, Mr. Biden. Oh, yeah, Mr. Biden. Yes, sir. By the way, guys, just to let you know, I'm here. I am here. I'm here drinking chocolate oat milk. I'm on this health kick thing, man, trying to lose the weight, trying to stay on the regular, keep myself in the bathroom, push all this stuff in that I'm pushing out. Had a chance to go see old Moms Do. I love my mom. She's in her 70s, and whenever I can get a chance to go see her, I'm going to see her. But the thing is, she's always cooking something good. Sweet Georgia cornbread. And I'm telling you, that's that Georgia crack. Pound cake. My favorite red velvet cake. German chocolate cake. Thank God she didn't cook that. No, I'm on a diet. But, Ma, I want to thank you for loving us, and I enjoyed myself. That's why I didn't have a show Sunday, because I just wanted to spend the rest of the day with her and focus on her. You get one mother and you got to cherish the moment while you can. None of us going to be here forever. And you just got to seize the moment. And I don't want to think about that day when I when my mom and my dad transition on. But it's going to happen sooner or later. If not, it's going to be me. I may go before them, but you're appointed once to die, and you're going to die. And you got to do whatever you can to prolong that time, but you never know. And I appreciate the time that I had with her. So that's why I wasn't on Sunday. And thank you for guys for being patient with me. And man, I got a lot of stuff to talk about. And I'm getting myself in a position where I can start talking a little bit more about those things up here without being intimidated by you or Facebook, who got me on timeout right now till Monday. Facebook put me on timeout because I told the people, why are you surprised about this rat, R-A-T, coon? This discussion was about James Clyburn. Put me on timeout for 7 days. So you go figure. The freedom of speech, the freedom of expression, and ability to control people's speech is stupid. Stupid. Sliding right down the path of non-democratic, non-democracy, totalitarianism, authoritarianism, all that stuff. You're becoming a fascist country. And this right here, the ability to take arms from people and the ability to control people's speech, would be the death of the United States. And you got to fight like tooth and toenail and challenge them like tooth and toenail in order to do it. And since I'm on that subject right now, let me go ahead and put this up here. In good faith, this work that I'm doing, Robert Bob TV Brown, Bobby O. Brown Show, contains fair use of copyrighted and non-copyright-written images from the public domain, the web, for non-commercial purposes and non-profit educational purposes. This work is distributed free of charge. I'm not charging nobody for this. Heck, I don't even want YouTube to even try to monetize this because they're not. They don't. If I do get any donation to come from the people in the PayPal.me account. Not only sweat you guys about that, because I believe you do what you can. The author has neither monetized his work, nope, sure haven't, nor sought any profit from its distribution, nope, definitely don't. Copyright disclaimer on this Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1975. Allowance is made for fair use for the purpose such as criticism. Oh, we're about to criticize. Comment. We're about to make some comment. News reporting. We're doing all those things about the news. Teaching, scholarship, research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that may otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. The work contains original work and commentary and critical analysis. Amen on that. Quotations are attributed to the original authors and the source. Now, so we off this Andrew Yang thing, okay? Wasn't buying it. Wasn't going to get sucked into it. He's just using that to get you, to weave you in his web. He's an Obama corporatist to the T. He's a Wall Street cat, and he's not going to be nothing else. He's a centered right Democrat. And y'all just found out. Because out of the scripture says from the Bible, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. See, gaffes are what's really on the inside of you. When you're a person who have too many gaffes, too many slips up about the same doggone topics, it's because it's in you. That's why I get pissed off when they tell me the Joe Biden gaffes about racism. That's because Joe Biden is a racist. He's a bigot. That's why it's nothing for Trump to say, you know, what the heck you got to lose? That's my African American over there. My African American, like he a slave owner. And that's why Joe Biden can say something stupid. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Who are you? What did you do to earn our vote? Democrat is not earning our vote. You being labeled a Democrat is not earning the black vote. And yeah, I'm going to talk to my black brothers and sisters. You need to wake up out of your stupor and get your head from out of these parties behind. Because as you see, if the black people in the party ain't doing nothing to fight for you, what do you think the white people are going to do in the party? If your very own is selling you out on a consistent basis without getting you anything in exchange. I mean, heck, when you sell something, you know, they do worse more than sell out. When you sell something, at least there's an exchange. I got me a 3-pack of drawers, some underwear. In order for me to take that out of that store, I got to make an exchange, some money. They're not going to just let me walk out the store. If I walk out that store without paying, I just committed a petty crime, and I can be fined or go to jail, or both. This dude, man, sold us out with nothing in exchange. We know Joe. Joe know us. We know Joe. Joe know us. Yeah, Joe know a little too much about us. Joe know that most of us are passive aggressive. Pretty much passive. No aggressive. And a whole lot of people think that too. Latinos think that about black people. Jewish people think that about black people. You know, white people think that about black people. And even black people think that about. We need to stop being passive. We need to be more aggressive. There's a reason we're further back. Yes, we can blame it on racism. Yes, we can blame it on white supremacy. But the only way to deal with racism and white supremacy is we become more aggressive. Be more aggressive in the strategy when it comes to voting. Do what the Asians do what any other nation do. They say, look, in order for you to get something from us, you got to give something to us. We just 2%. We'll give us whatever we can get. Like one lady told me, we got to take whatever we get. And we just take the crumbs. Fool, I'm not taking anything. We built this country equally. We were the labor force. We the one put in the blood, sweat, and tears and the harassment from our employees, so to speak. Anyway, let me get into this subject. All right, so everybody is upset at Tim Scott about what he said after that State of the Union, and rightfully so. You go sit here and talk about how you've been arrested by the police, how you've been singled out, driving while black, police thinking that BMW stand for Black Man Wish, all that kind of stuff. You yourself, Tim Scott, living in South Carolina. But then again, you know something, and I'm going to tell you this. I got to show you this. Give me a moment. And look, how can I say this? I love my black sisters and brothers. And I'm not against interracial relationships. I prefer black, but I've been involved in with other Russian relationships, other color. I had this nice looking Russian lady in Astoria trying to holler at me. Boy, she was bad. But look, I seen Training Day. You break a Russian woman heart, boy, they probably send the whole Russian mafia at you. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it, son. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it at all. All right, so just give me a moment. I'm trying to look up something. Trying to look up something real quick. Why do brothers, black men, sell out black men and black women? Why? What is it? What's in it for them? What do you get? Love and admiration from white people? Is it worth selling your soul, selling your own people out for love and admiration just to get it from white zaddyism or the dominant society? I just don't get it. I'm trying to find something up here that proves my point when it comes to these black elitists from both sides of the aisle. All right, so I'm not going to be able to see it. Maybe they're hiding this stuff on purpose. Well, just like the brother in Louisiana, who's supposed to have been overseeing the case of Breonna Taylor, his wife is white. Tim Scott, the only black senator, his wife is black. I mean, his wife is white. And James Clyburn, that's another thing. But it seems like those who marry and take advantage of interracial access and marry white and move to a white neighborhood, drive a decent car that, most black people didn't have access to, seem like they're the ones who always say stuff like this: America is not a racist country. Bruh. You need to sit your butt down. America is racist as they come. This country was built on racism, built by racism. The whole ideology of building this country was white supremacy. That we will be the dominant society, and we came here to build this country. Forget who was in this country already. We came here to take over. We came here, as Eddie Guerrero would say in this song, rob, cheat, and steal, and lie. Lie, cheat, and steal. The United States gave other opportunities in Europe to come over to possess lands that didn't even belong to them. So no, brother, America is absolutely racist. Now we came a long way. Don't get me wrong, but we ain't there yet, Captain. We are not there yet. So everybody talked about this the other day, and Representative Clyburn says qualified immunity doesn't have to be part of police reform. Who are you, Negro, to make that decision on behalf of black people who put you in office? Who are you to say that? Now, I don't want to use the other N word. And see, that's how I got put on timeout on Facebook. I got timeout put on Facebook talking about Trump. I got timeout talking about Trump. Everybody worried about freaking Trump till this freaking day. Trump is gone. And y'all still got y'all head in the Trump gutter. The person you need to worry about is that nutcase in Florida that's trying to be Trump Jr., the governor, or his son, Donald Jr., or his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, whose office sits on Madison Avenue as 666 Madison Avenue. Yeah, 666 Madison Avenue. The Kushner properties. How in the world are we letting this black Negro slide by saying something like this? Why are we not in his DMs? Why are we not blowing up his Twitter? Why are we not, man? Those are the things that are worth getting kicked off of Twitter. Why are we not Shame them. House Majority Whip James E. Clyburn suggested Sunday that he, of course you would, because you're a sellout. You're a sap sucker sellout. You've been selling out black people for over 40 years, man. 40. Now, I got family that live in South Carolina. My brother, my niece, my brother's ex-wife. I got some people in South Carolina. You know, and I guess they got a reason for voting for this guy. Better than voting for a Republican, right? And then you got him, you got Lindsey Graham, and you got Tim Scott, all of them buddies. They are cozy buddies. They're not opposition. They all are buddies. They gel together. This fool, this Nimrod, this nutcase, this black white supremacist. Yeah, I just look at him and all I can think about is Clayton Bigsby. I'm looking for Clayton Bigsby. Look no further, buddy. You found him. That's him. Clayton Bigsby, the author. What's the matter? Think I can't write them books? I might be blind, but I ain't dumb. That's James Clyburn. Now, if you want to go all the way, Tim Scott, definitely that. Going to divorce his wife after 25 years because she liked black men. But the lady was blind, man. Greatest skits ever, man. Dave Chappelle. I wrote 6 books. They published 4. I love this skit. Anyway, this guy is Clayton Bigsby. I know a lot of people say Uncle Ruckus, but I mean, look, he do sound like Uncle Ruckus and look like Uncle Ruckus. You know, let's give him that. And the other guy, Clayton Bigsby, is Tim Scott. But he said he would be willing to support police reform legislation, even if it do not end qualified immunity. So you already made the mistake of letting these people know. See, one of the biggest mistakes you can make in negotiation is let people know where your limitation is, where your bargaining chip is. Look, in union, I used to be a union negotiator. No, you always go high and you try to meet to the middle, or if you got leverage, you beat them all as low as you can. If you got the leverage, you can push them down to the bottom. This Negro. This Negro. This tomfool. Yeah, I'm getting upset at this stuff, man. I gotta calm down, man, because he said he's willing to support policing reform legislation, even if it do not end qualified. Fool, the whole point of police, there is no police legislation without qualified immunity being ended. The whole foundation, the whole bullet point, the mission of this George Floyd bill should be ending qualified immunity. That should be the whole mission statement. That should be the whole goal. Without that, there is no George Floyd bill. And this Negro says, now he's supposed to be the big man. And he tried to talk big. This man is just the smallest crap, man. We putting in his imagination how dominant he is. You got black people down in South Carolina afraid of James Clyburn like he's some kind of mafia boss. Like he the king of Harlem. Like he Bumpy Johnson or somebody. Man, if you don't sit your $5 behind down before I make change, you ain't no Bumpy Johnson. Well, look here. You know, you ain't gonna get no reparations. No, forget about it. Every black person should have been lighting his behind up when that video came out by Jamie. Everybody should have lit his behind up, and everybody should be lighting his behind up in this. No black person on the face of this planet should be allowing this man to say this crap. You should be jerking him. You should be just like the dog that's running past the gate and forgot he got a leash on you. You let him run, and then you jerk that leash. Don't let him pull you. You make sure you pull him back. And the problem is black people are letting this man pull them instead of we, the people, black people, pull this fool back. Rein him in. He ain't got too big for his britches, too much power for his britches, and we need to remind him, you ain't got no power without us. The lights can go out any day, bruh, on your career. I will never sacrifice good on the altar of perfect. Fool, it's not perfection. Nobody is trying to get a perfect bill. But the bottom line of this bill and any other policing bill should be ending qualified immunity. You didn't say anything when you sat there and pushing this hate crime for Asian bill. I know what the perfect bill will be. We have proposed that. I want to see good legislation. And I know that. Sometimes you have to compromise. No, you don't. Sometimes you don't have to compromise. If you got leverage, if you are aggressive and you have the power, you ain't got to compromise jack. Trump was not compromising too much of nothing when he had the House and the presidency and the Senate. And you fools have the presidency and so-called the Senate and the House. And you talking about some freaking compromise. What it is you're a bunch of pussies, a bunch of punks. Pussycats. Cats. Meow. Sorry, Pastor. You're a bunch of punks. You ain't got no cojones. Tammy Duckworth got more gonads than you, James Clyburn. She fights for her people. What are you doing for black people? I will never sacrifice good on the altar of perfect. I just won't do that. Look here. I know, Joe. I will never, ever sacrifice good on the altar of perfect. Well, the Republicans don't have anything good. Heck, you Democrats don't have too much good in that bill. It's a bill with no teeth. And the biggest teeth you can actually put in the bill, there is no bill with teeth without qualified immunity ending, because it is the teeth. And the people deserve a bill that got some bite. I mean, some fatal bites to it. Just like a freaking diamondback rattlesnake. One bite. And this fool. And we're allowing this fool, especially you South Carolinians. I'll never sacrifice good on the altar perfect. I just won't do it. I just won't do that. Says this Uncle Tom raccoon beanhead looking old Negro. He said that on the State of the Union. If we don't get qualified immunity now, then we will come back. We will come back. Oh, we don't get it now. We'll come. No, there is no coming back. That is the teeth of the bill. There is no bill without that, punk. The point is, let me tell you something. Let me get myself back up here and look at you eyeball to eyeball. I got to talk to you real quick. Got to talk to you. The whole point of that bill, the foundation of that bill should have been qualified immunity ending. It should be what everything else comes out of. This man is saying, look, if we don't get it, we'll get it later. Stop falling for that mess. Tell you a story about what my pastor told me about little Johnny. Little Johnny was a shoe shine boy. And every time little Johnny was making bank. He saw you with some dirty shoe, he jumped right on your shoes. He ain't asking you. He'll jump on your shoes and shine it up, and he put his hand in $5. By the time it's too late, Johnny made him about $100, man. All he needed was 20 people. Shoe shine, $5. See you with dirty, get right on it. Shoe shine, $5. Aggressive. Take no for an answer. But what killed this business was somebody came up to him and said, not today, tomorrow. He snatched his foot back and said, look, Johnny, not today, tomorrow. Everybody else heard that and said, oh, shoot, we got a scapegoat to keep paying little Johnny, to stop paying little Johnny $5 every day. $5 every day add up sometimes. To stop Johnny from getting $5 a day, guess what? All we have to do is say tomorrow. And then my pastor said, remember this principle. Do not put off for tomorrow what you can do today. Every time I end the show, I says this. I said, make a mark on this world that cannot be erased. And if you have not done it, you can start today. It's today that matters, not tomorrow. What you do today will determine your tomorrow. And we got to stop letting James Clyburn, Tim Scott, all these numbnuts, we got to stop this. We got to stop them from having any reason to work on a plan B. Oh, we'll revisit this another time, We'll revisit. If we don't get it, we'll come back. Man, shut up. You ain't coming back, Jack. Politicians are lazy than a hound dog up in the mountains of West Virginia. Tired of sniffing. Let's go, boy. Oh. That's these politicians. And that's James Clyburn. Boy, I try my best to stay calm. He say he know what the perfect bill is, and if we don't get it now, we'll get it later. Not now, later. Sound like Lil Johnny. Lil Johnny, not now, later. If Johnny continue to buy that crap, Johnny will be broke and won't have nothing. And if we as the people buy that crap from these politicians, not now, if we don't get it now, we get it later. Bruh, if you don't get it in this one, you won't see another later in your career. That's what they said about the $15 an hour. They were too much of a punk to even put it in the bill. You got Democrats that sided with Republicans against the $15 an hour. And you got Democrats that sided up Republicans against the George Floyd bill. But when it came out to the Asian bill, Democrats and Republicans, almost in unison, same team, all in the same game. And the population of Asians compared to blacks are nowhere near on the same level. Fully on you black people, we got to take care of everybody else. I can't just do anything for black people. No. Well, it look like you're doing everything for everybody else but black people. So stop your line. And then she's the same freaking way. America is not a racist. And let me tell you something, she ain't die hard for this George Floyd bill. She is not aggressively lobbying and campaigning to get this bill signed. All she do is talk on TV, but she is not doing anything aggressively to do that. And she's the VP. And people say, well, VP don't do anything. That's a shame, because they should. I just follow Joe lead. That was the agreement we made. So you made that agreement that no matter if Joe Biden decided to sell out the people of California, you're going to go with it because that's the agreement you made. Who's more important, your agreement that you made with the people of California who let you become senator? Because believe me, Joe Biden saved your freaking life, girl, because you are not going to win your next race in California. Your poll numbers sunk real low when Tulsi Gabbard took your head off. Don't let me get on Tulsi Gabbard about her version of race matters. And I call it like I said, folks. I don't hold no. I'm not kissing no politician behind. I'm not a sycophant. The biggest mistakes we can ever make is get too cozy with these politicians like they family, and they not. People like that about Tulsi, people like that about Bernie, people like that about Biden. These people are not your family members. Now, some of you may know these people personally. That's great on you, good on you. But at the end of the day, they're there to do a job, and we can't let personal feelings get in the way. And a lot of you people know this knucklehead right here, especially you black South Carolinians, majority of you, especially majority of you that's 50 and up. Y'all let this Negro whisper talk dominant to you, and y'all just get in freaking line, man. He think he own you. If we don't get qualified immunity now, then we'll come back and try to get it later for you, and when it comes to my vote. But I don't want to see us throw away a good bill because we can't get a perfect bill. Nobody ever talks about a perfect bill. You're sitting up here saying you don't want to throw away a good bill, and you actually believe a good bill is a bill that does not have the end of qualified immunity. No, it's a horrible bill if that is not the foundation of this bill. Every person who do not push for this, they need to be voted out. I don't care who they're running against. I don't. What if he run up against Hitler? Either way, you got to make a hard decision, bruh. Because this guy ain't doing nothing for us. He's not. He's laxy-daisy and could care less. Because if he really cared, he wouldn't show his cards in the middle of the game before he put them down. What fool gonna sit there and show his cards before it's time to chip in? Clyburn's remark was a departure from members of his own party, who, along with civil rights activists, has pushed for the doctrine to be eliminated and changed. Qualified immunity has become the biggest sticking points in negotiation on police reform legislation between Democrats and Republicans, who have proposed preserving qualified immunity. So you guys are letting these fools that you put in office to sit here and propose preserving qualified immunity. Now I understand, you white people, you're for that? Fine. That just proves to me you're racist. Black people, if you're allowing this stuff to happen, or if you're for this, that proves to me that you're a sucker, sellout, rat, and a coon. This is America. Everybody should have the same plight, the same rights. I can't go out there and put my knee on somebody's neck and expect them to die without them saying I murdered that person and without murder charges coming my way. So why is it okay for a police officer to do that? Why is it okay for him just get a little suspension, a little slap on the wrist, or get him an opportunity to cash out and get his retirement? Just retire early. That way you get a pension. No. Bro, you do this, you have no retirement. You have no pension. You ain't gonna need it. So you need to think about that now before you go out there and do something stupid. If you go out there stupid, become a race soldier, going out here just you abusing your authority. And let me get this straight. It's not just black people that get harassed by the police. You got people with mental illnesses. There's video. Tim Black just showed a video not too long ago. I was going to show it, but you know me, I don't like to piggyback too much. I got my own thing I like to say concerning certain topics. I have topics of the day. I don't do news like talking about. People with mental illness get shot down from cops because some cops too lazy to deal with them. You see a big man look like he got muscle, especially if he black. Well, that sucker look like he can do some damage. Pow! This dude, the pastor, just coming from his church in Oklahoma, and they killed him. The lady killed him. Brother going in his house all tired, worn out, ready to get some sleep. And the cop going, I thought it was my house. I thought it was my house. I thought he was breaking in my house. Brother got a key, go in, fix him something. Come on, man. Stop these excuses. These cops need to be dealt with accordingly if they do something like that. Like I said before, there's a lot of decent cops who do the job they serve and protect. A lot of cops don't buy into that, I'm the law. I'm the law. Most folks not going here acting like they Judge Dredd. I'm the law, I'm the law, I'm blah, blah, I'm blah, blah, blah. No, most of them actually work to serve and protect people. Courteous. I know because I work with them on a lot of issues. So I myself, I'm not an abolishment of police. I think we need to have some protection for us because we got some fools out here want to do stupid, foolish stuff. And somebody need to serve and protect. But we do need to let these people know when you go overboard from your duties, you're going to pay a penalty just like them. And no, we're not going to separate you from general population. You're going in the middle general population because you do the crime, you're going to do the same time. Democrats and Republicans have proposed preserving qualified immunity for individual officers instead of holding local governments liable when officers harm people. No, you do both. You do both. Oh boy. I think I got this video. Let me pull it up. Boy, I tell you. All right, so let's get into this. James Clyburn running his big mouth.
Let's talk about efforts to work in a bipartisan way. Republicans on state levels are trying to pass laws making it more difficult to vote in some aspects. Democrats have a sweeping federal election reform proposal right now, but there aren't 50 votes for it, let alone 60 needed to overcome a filibuster. Are Democrats considering shifting strategies and trying to pass perhaps a more narrowly focused bill instead, such as the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, in order to get something passed?
Well, you know.
Now, look, Democrats are good. Let's name this John Lewis. That way we could probably play on the sympathy of Republicans because Republicans love John Lewis too. And they'll probably vote for it. They don't care if his name was John Lewis or John Lee Hooker. The rednecks ain't passing this bill. And half of these Democrats ain't passing this bill because it's just showing their colors. But let's let this numbnut talk.
I'm a great believer in the Lyndon Johnson philosophy of half loaf is better than no loaf at all.
Now, oh God, this fool just say he's a great philosophy, a great understander, and he operates in the philosophy of Lyndon Baines Johnson. This guy just admitted that he listens to and operate in the principles of one of the biggest of all times. Not understand the only reason that he pushed the Civil Rights Act is because of political pressure from the grassroots that Martin Luther King led. And other political leaders were doing the same thing. Like Malcolm X and Rap Brown and Stokely Carmichael and Fred Hampton, all these people was leading a movement from the grassroots up that was applying pressure on Lyndon B. Johnson that even though he couldn't stand it, he had to do it. He was going, and he's talking about he's for the philosophy of Lyndon B. Johnson, a man who said he hated Dr. King. That Dr. King was a thorn in his flesh. He hated that he can't be who he really is, a bigot. And here he is, this Rufus, this Uncle Ruckus, this Uncle Tom, whatever you want to call him, he's sitting up here quoting a racist.
However, I think we must maintain our dedication to making this country what it professes to be, and that is to have a free and unfettered vote. We have already seen now 47 of the 50 states passing, or not passing, but proposing various forms of suppression laws. 2 of them have passed it. Texas, it seemed to be on the verge of passing one. I think that the national government must play a role in making sure that elections are unfettered. And so I know that it's going to be tough. I have been working very closely with Senator Merkley.
All right, so before we go further, I'm playing this because they use voting as a tool to say that if we don't get more people in the office, we can't get these bills passed. Now, honestly speaking, that is true. The more people you get into office, the better your chances are to get a particular bill passed. But that's if you know exactly if you got somebody that's voting, that's on your side. This black man ain't on your side, black people. He ain't on your side. Here's proof he's not on your side, because he's literally bending the knee to these people.
Who is the author or is putting together S1 that plays off of HR 1, and Joe Manchin, who has some issues we've met, and I understand we're meeting again this week. I hold out hope that nobody is going to allow the filibuster to take away voting rights or any other constitutional right. The vote filibuster is all about extending debate. It's not about denying civil and basic constitutional rights, and I don't think that that's going to come to pass. I think that we are going to have a good, solid bill, H.R. 1 as well as H.R. 4, which we now call the John R. Lewis Voting Rights and Advancement Act.
Right, but you are going to have to decide ultimately, in all likelihood, whether you're going to take the half a loaf, as you put it, rather than none. And the same thing with policing reform legislation. There's a tentative agreement. The biggest sticking point right now remains whether or not police can keep qualified immunity for officers, which Republicans, led by Tim Scott of your home state, say they need to keep. Again, is anything less? Do you need the whole loaf, or are you willing to pass the bill that has most of what you want, but just not the end to qualified immunity?
Now, when reporters ask dumb questions, they say an asshole, A-S-K, is a person who just asks ignorant questions. Now, what the news media want to see is how many people who is going to compromise. They could care less about how many people who are going to say, screw that, no. If qualified immunity eradication is not in the bill, there won't be no bill. And we're going to threaten politically to remove people from their seats. We're going to do whatever we can to put the pressure on you if you don't support this bill. Joe Biden is not out here actively. Let me tell you something, people. When Bill Clinton was pushing that crime bill that Joe Biden wrote from that he birthed from his wound, one of the most racist bills since Jim Crow. When he came up with that bill, Bill Clinton loved it so much. Man, this is kind of good. He got his wife out there promoting that bill. Bill Clinton went out there and muscled, twisted people who was running for office, because Bill Clinton was a popular president at that time, and he had the ability to say, look, if you want to win your race, it's going to take me coming out there campaigning for you. because they love me. They don't love you. But if we show love for one another, it'll rub off on you. So he used political pressure to get these people to bend the knee, including Republicans. Him and Newt Gingrich had a good friendship. Sure, they did whatever they could to get him impeached, just like the Democrats did the same thing with Joe Biden. But that don't mean that, you know, the reason why people do these things is because they're trying to get leverage over one another. I caught you in this affair. Don't worry about it. I'll keep it on a hush-hush if you vote for this bill. Oh, I find out that you did something wrong here and there and nobody know about it. I'm gonna send it to the news unless you sign this bill. I mean, you talking about Frank Underwooding people around here. That's what you got to do in order to. Now, you ain't got to go out and kill nobody, throw them in front of the subway or nothing like that. You ain't got to do nothing stupid like that. But you got to be aggressive about that. And who was going to go up against Hillary Clinton, man? People was dying like flies because of Hillary Clinton. What I'm saying is they mobilize and use political pressure. Joe Biden ain't doing none of that, Jack. Kamala Harris ain't doing none of that. They lazy, bummerclot politicians. And they don't want to get anything done. If they did, they will put the muscle on Joe Manchin and Sinema and all the rest of these numbnut politicians that's going with the right. But then again, Joe Biden ain't going to do it because he's a right-wing Democrat. And so is Kamala Harris. She's a right-wing Democrat. And the proof is in their record. Here, Jake Tapper, and that's not his porn name, Tapper. That's his real name. He's about to explain to James Clyburn, trying to get him on a hot seat. And instead of James Clyburn being bold enough to say, bro, I ain't voting for Jack. If we don't get qualified immunity ended, heads are going to roll. There is no negotiating. There is no compromising on that.
Well, you know, I will never sacrifice good on the altar of perfect. I just won't do that. I know what the perfect bill will be. We have proposed that. I want to see good legislation, and I know that sometimes you have to compromise. But let me say this. I have been saying from the beginning, we have well-trained police officers. We've got to do a better job of recruiting police officers. We got to get good people, no matter how good the training. If you don't have good people, the training does no good. Now, the problem we've got now is that there are some bad apples in policing. We have seen it in our living rooms. We know it.
Now, before we go any further, sell out. Most police officers, a lot of them do go there thinking that they're going to do good. And then things happen once they get on the force. It's just like you politicians. You go to Capitol Hill, I'm going to serve the people. And after a while, you get a little pressure on your behind. You start selling the people out. It's no different. So we need good people in Congress. We need good politicians. We need good political servants out here. We need people that's going to serve the people, James Clyburn. I thought you was going to be that. But you just as rogue as any other cop.
It's still there. We got to root out the bad apples, and let's go forward with a good, solid program. If you don't get qualified immunity,
you got to root out the bad apples. Well, that's what we try to do when it comes to fools like you. And I tell people we got to root out the bad apple. This guy's a bad apple. He's a bad apple. He's a bad actor. He's a doggone let me calm down. This guy is a traitor to black people. Always had and always will be. He was part of the crew that went up and whipped the black votes on at the CBC when it came to the crime bill. He claimed he was the one fighting against it. Fighting against it just like this. He was willing to compromise. See, when you're willing to compromise, you already let it be known you don't have no balls to overtake or overturn. You want to take the easy route. Let's make a deal. Let's compromise. See, when you're in the Army and you have more soldiers and you have more equipment and you have a better strategy to overcome and overtake, you don't go in there talking about waving the flag or a strategy to compromise or work out something. Your job is to take the land, take the fort, take the flag, and you're well equipped to do it. And if you have the ability and equipment to do it and you don't do it, they'll probably court-martial you behind. And that's what we do. We put these people in office to do just that, and yet we don't hold them accountable. We sit up here and let this Negro find every excuse to keep these white supremacists in the police department, as well as bootlickers, black bootlickers, Latino bootlickers, Asian bootlickers. A bootlicker is somebody that aids and abet these bigots and don't even say nothing. You see the man is hurting somebody. You see the man is killing somebody. You can see him killing your own and you won't even do it. It's like Bernie Mac and don't be on, was it Bernie Mac? Yeah, Bernie Mac and don't be a menace. No, not Bernie Mac. Don't. It was Boys in the Hood, that black cop. The black cop hated black people more than the white cop. And black politicians hate black people more than white politicians in some case. And this is one of them. He's one of them. What are you going to do about reparations, James Clyburn? Well, you know, we got to do a study and we got to do this and this. And listen for a second. Listen to me for a second. Man, I ain't listen to you because you're talking foolishness. Oh, we gotta. Oh, forget about it. Defeatist mentality is rampant in the Democratic Party. Republicans got a defeat mentality. They plan on defeating you. And we got fools like this with a defeatist mentality that's already talking about compromising one of the most important parts of that bill.
Now, then we'll come back and try to get it later. But I don't want to see us throw out a good bill because we can't get a perfect bill.
My point, fool, is who are you to tell us
Senate
what a good
Senator
bill or
Joe
not?
Manchin.
Who are you
Question.
to tell us what a good bill or not? People, it's up to you to let him know whether the bill is good or not. Don't let them think, oh, I got something good. This is good. No, you are the ones who have to deal with the results of the bill, not them. So you have to look at the bill, which we've done up here before. We can do it again, but you can go look at it for yourself. I don't have to go over that bill. Most of it don't have any teeth. Banning chokeholds. Chokeholds been banned. All right, so I ain't got to choke you this way. I find another way to choke you. I'll find another way to kill you. 6 million ways to die, one way to burn. Shout outs to Corey Red and Precise, gospel hip hop artists. 6 million ways to die, one way to burn. These cops will be very creative on how they kill you if you don't put that ending qualified immunity. You got to make it plain to them that if this happened under your arrests, if these things happen, we're going to fire you, number one. We're going to suspend you. We're going to fire you. You're not going to get a pay. We will investigate. The body cam is going to be open to everybody, including the news media and people on the streets. Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And if you do the crime, you're going to do the time. And you're going to do the time just like everybody else do the time in general population. You're not going to go somewhere where you're away from the prisoners because you fear they're going to kill you. Well, whoop-de-doo. Every prisoner fear that they're going to get shanked or choked out in prison. Join the club. But if you do right and you go by the book and you follow the training and stop letting your emotions get in the way, we won't have this problem. Also in the bill, every police need to go through an evaluation every month. A psychological evaluation. Because as a police officer, you become a police officer. It no longer become your job. Sure, you came in with the right intention. Sure, you wanted to serve and protect. But that just the idea that you may not come home put you in a position where you're afraid to be vulnerable. So you figure you gotta show some kind of power where nobody can take advantage of you and hurt you. No, anybody, I'm going to take advantage and hurt you before you hurt me. That's how some police officers' mentality is. Now, you got a lot of people in Congress, both Democrats and Republicans, on that BS that he's on. You very rarely got few people that's not on it. Most of the squad, they talk the game, but they're not, they really haven't been aggressive about it. You know, Jamal Bowman talked about it. That's who represent me. He said, look, I'm not going for it. Cori Bush said, I'm not going for it. She can't go for it. You know why? Because she got elected on this issue. She used the power of the Black Lives Matter movement, not the organization, the movement, to push this, to get elected on this. She got elected on a promise that she's going to deal with police overreach, police brutality, police murders, that she's going to do whatever she can to make it against the law for them to get away scot-free with this. She got elected on it. So for her to not stand on that and separate herself from what these fools talking about, she set herself up to not get reelected again, and rightfully so. So what do? She make a decision that she gonna stand by what she got elected for.
Senate, Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia has essentially, used what seems to be a veto power against a lot of progressive priorities, including some of the ones that you've mentioned. But in the House, Democrats have this 2-seat majority. There are 6 members of the squad, of which you are a part. What's stopping you from flexing that same power for your agenda? You just said you would vote against a compromise on qualified immunity. Are you prepared, and the rest of the squad prepared, to use that kind of veto power that you have if you vote as a bloc?
I'm prepared to do whatever is needed to make sure that that our agenda moves forward. But I can't speak for the rest of the squad members. At the end of the day, my sister Ayanna Pressley says it all the time. You vote alone, and you're voting for your districts.
Now, I got something to say about that. Now, Ayanna Pressley, can't trust her. She's a Clintonista to the core. She wouldn't even be in this position if it wasn't for Bernie Sanders bringing her into the Our Revolution camp and the Justice Democrats. Because the Democrats showed their racism toward her when they decided to push a Kennedy instead of her. And that woman kissed more behind than anybody that tried to get Hillary elected. She was a Hillary surrogate, just kissing Hillary behind. And as soon as she wanted to run for office, they wanted to tell her no. Hoyer, all of them, no. We already picked who we wanted to pick. So guess who went and recruited her? Nina Turner in Our Revolution. And that's how she won. running on that platform. Black people, again, supported her anyway, not seeing what she's going to do for them. But hey, what do you expect from Massachusetts in some cases? But Corey, I was going to say Corey Red. Corey Bush is right in this incident. You got one vote. You cannot let your career be defined on how other people vote. You got to just do the right vote and work with people to make sure that they vote on that same lines. If you know it's right to end qualified immunity, then you need to vote along that line and don't vote anything else. But she's going to have to find some way to convince her comrades to vote for a bill and shun a bill that don't have it in it. Don't be like Clyburn. You're going to have to work with your colleague and get in their face, Corey. If you're true to that, Corey, you're going to have to work with your colleagues and get in your face and let them know, if you ain't supporting this, then I got a problem with you. Because honestly, you don't care about my people, because this right here is hurting more of my people than your people. Not saying it don't hurt your people, but not on the level it does mine. Rashida, Ilhan, AOC, Tammy Duckworth. Not on the level. So for you to not push hard for this, because sooner or later your people are going to get caught up in this too. But right now we're in the forefront dealing with this, man. If you're not willing to support that, then why would you look at me as supporting something for you and your people? I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it, but you gotta show me where you stand. Now, do I 100% believe that Corey is gonna be a woman of her words? I don't trust no politicians. I don't put it past them. They say one thing and don't do it the next minute. But I have no choice but to see if she's going to do it. If she do it, I give her credit. If she won't do it, I won't give her no credit. I will be on her too.
So you're voting for the people who voted you in. You're voting their needs and their values.
Now, that's true. She is exactly right. It's time for these people in the Beltway, it's time for these people in Washington, D.C. to realize that there. But they don't care. Look, folks, don't you know all it takes is for you to do 1 or 2 terms and you set for life? They don't care. All right, big deal, you vote me out. I go sit on the board. John Boehner up here peddling marijuana like he Nino Brown. He peddling marijuana like he worked for a Jamaican conglomerate, straight from Jamaica, pushing ganja. John Boehner. He got Eric Cantor. He loses his race and he's sitting on 3 boards of a company. Heck, in order to get the black vote, Joe Biden promised James Clyburn, his daughter, board positions. Selling you out so his daughter can get a job and you can't get a job. Let's see what else Corey Bush said.
Question I think Congress is facing right now is, would you accept a qualified immunity alternative that would hold police departments accountable if it means getting the George Floyd police reform bill through Congress, even if it's not 100% of what you initially wanted?
So she just asked her the same question that Jake Tapper, it's not his porn name, that's actually his actual name. Jake Tapper's the same question. Are you willing to negotiate? But she goes a totally different path than James the Sellout Clyburn.
You know, right now we need to end qualified immunity, period. You know, that's my stance. So
you are not willing to compromise on that?
So we compromise on
No, just be bold. Say hell no. Hell no. Like that dude about that Hot Pocket. Hell. Y'all ever seen that video about the guy break into the bank just to warm up a Hot Pocket? And the people say, was it worth it? You're like, hell yeah, it was worth it. A hot pocket? Hell yeah. That's what you got to do it. Oh no, I'm going to live on and die by this. I will let my career die for the sake of this right here, because this will do be monumental for my people. Monumental. I'm willing to die for this, let alone have my political career end. She will be a hero. A hero in the black community and a hero in other communities too. They have to deal with some of these loose cannons out here. She should be bold and start saying, you know, she's bold with her answer. You know, what can I expect? I don't know. She's new and she's probably under pressure and things like that. And I can say what I want to say over here because I'm not in her shoes. But me, I'm the type of person like, man, if you don't get out my face, ask me that dumb question. Sister, black sister, you gonna ask me that dumb question? If you was in my position, what would you do? You wouldn't ride or die? Because I'm a ride or die on this thing.
So much, you know, we compromise, we die. We compromise, we die. We compromise, we die. You know, I didn't come to Congress to compromise.
You hear that, James Clyburn? And anybody who sit up here letting James Clyburn talk that foolish talk, that's exactly what happened in our community. We continue, you punk politicians continue to compromise and we still die. We compromise and we still die. You compromise and we still die. Republicans sitting up here sucking on the nipples of the NRA, compromise and die. Compromise and die. I mean, nothing wrong with being with the NRA. You just can't give them all that power. And they're not the only gun rifle association around. There's a lot of other ones out here, but we just know the NRA. But the problem is you allow them too much lobby power where they take your membership money and go out here and lobby power. We ride, we compromise, and die. And you got people like James Clyburn willing to let us continue to die.
On what could keep us alive, because it holds police officers specifically accountable. Because the thing is this: if you don't hurt people, if you don't kill people, if you are just and fair in your work, then do you need the qualified immunity anyway? You know, so the thing is, all of this safety net. The safety net shouldn't be there. But let me say this: where are all of these special protections for nurses and for other people in other positions that do very dangerous work that's just trying to help people? So no, I will not compromise on that. We need to end qualified immunity, and the reason why there is this open lane for compromise is because they see that people will do it. I didn't come. St. Louis did not send me here. St. Louis being number one for police murder in the country per capita, and has been that way for years. The people did not send me here to save their lives by falling down on the one thing that we needed the most. No.
And I don't want to belabor this, and I hear the passion in your voice on this.
I don't want to belabor this, but I think I'm going to belabor this. This woman just told you, look, this is what I came here for. I got elected because my people are tired of this mess. They said, look, we're putting you in the office, and that's one of the things we want you to do. And that's what you need to do as a politician. You got to do, your people sending you there because they expect you to do something. That's why I say you don't give nobody support for your vote unless they heed to your demand before you give it to them. They have to earn your vote. Cori Bush made a decision and made a negotiation with the people that if you send me there, I'm going to do this for you. Now, her chance of backing off of that is great. But they did their part. She has to do her part. Now, we're going to see if she's going to do her part. That'll let her know she's just like another punk politician if she don't. But if she do her part, because she's talking a good game, she's talking that sound I want to hear. Same thing with Jamal Bowman. But when it's time for you to vote, I want you voting. And then when it's time to somebody bring you a compromise, I need you to stand true to whatever you say, because some things are non-negotiable. Now, we don't supposed to negotiate with terrorists And the police unions and the police department oftentimes can get a little terroristy, if that's a word, and it's not a word. Now she's gonna see if she's gonna double down again.
This issue, but if it comes back to the House with a compromise on qualified immunity, would you vote against that?
What did she just tell you?
I am not prepared to vote. I am not prepared to support that.
President.
Now the lady just told you no. And you're gonna ask that again, but let alone. Sister, you probably compromised yourself working at that CNN. See, what CNN does, what they normally do, they got a good habit of getting a black female, sometime a black male, to try to see if we can get somebody to think twice about what they're saying. That's why people like this. Now, Cori Bush was an activist. She got elected from the activist position. So her game is pretty tight. We'll see if it actually happened. But her game is pretty tight. Look, I didn't come here to compromise. Folks, the reason people compromise is they figure they ain't got no power. Now, the Democrats are just as tyrannical as the Republicans. And we gave them too much power. We, the people, gave them too much power, and they figure they can do whatever they want. And we, the people, got to let them know, no, you ain't doing what you want. You ain't. Republicans talking about they don't want to hear anything on reparations. Then you got Democrats talking about reparations. Then everybody trying to tell us, well, this person said, what's his name, the black dude from Fox News, Larry Elder. This is what he said about reparations. I don't give a crap what nobody else said about reparation and their point of view. The only point of view I care about are the people who've been studying this for decades, like Claude Anderson, people like Sandy Darity. This ain't got nothing to do with nobody else's political movement. This is ours. And we're going to push for it just like everybody else pushed for they want. You got the progressives pushing for what they want. You got these the socialists pushing for what they want. You got the communists pushing for what they want. You got the Marxists pushing for what they want. And fine, go for it. You got the aggressive, you got the level to push it. Either get done or don't get done. But don't let nobody tell you it can't get done, and don't let nobody talk you out of it. See, I am for Medicare for all. I am for no-cost education. I am for all those things that's popular, but not at the expense of reparations. My number one priority is this police issue, which is part of the black agenda, and reparation part of the black agenda. And people could talk all they want. I ain't hearing you, bruh. Because the fact of the matter, this country owes us. And anything that goes out anywhere else outside of that, you're robbing from us. My mom said, look, Robert, how are you going to be buying all this stuff when you owe these people? Pay your debts first, and then you start taking care of the other stuff. To not do so is irresponsible, and it makes you less of a man. So I don't listen to people like Clyburn or anybody else. Now, the issue of this agenda, and I'm done. The issue at hand is this. You got black politicians on the right and the left that's following along with white politicians on the right and left who don't want this bill in the first place, don't want to support it. They'll only act like they're supporting it because they want to make sure they can keep you under their string or in their web, so to speak. Got to keep these Negroes on our side. We can't let them slip on the Republican side, or we can't let them slip to be a non-voter. We can't let them slip. So let's promise them these things, even though we ain't gonna really bust out behind to get it. Matter of fact, I don't like it. I don't want them to have it, and I don't want to give it to them. But I got to find some way to make that not be so obvious. The day Derek Chauvin get convicted, here come Nancy Pelosi out there doing the speech. Woman, go sit down. I don't need you to do speech. CBC out there strong, and Nancy Pelosi out there leading the CBC. Nancy, we don't need you out here. Let somebody else talk. We don't need you. You're 150 millionaire. You haven't done much about the police issues in your own district. Sit your butt down. The same thing with Mitch McConnell and the people of Louisville. Now, of course, he ain't gonna say nothing because he support Blue Lives Matters over Black Lives Matter anyway. And folks, look. This country is supposed to be America, land of the free, home of the brave. People come here because they want to have rights. And when they get here and they get their citizenship, they should have equal rights to us in the Constitution. Because now they're citizens. Now, different sects of the United States, SECT, have their missionary agenda. Nothing wrong with that. And they're supposed to fight for that. Nothing wrong with that. In this case, we're dealing with police thinking they can do anything they want to do and thinking they're going to get in the way, and that needs to stop. There is no compromise. And if these punk politicians ain't going to let them know, you the people got to let them know. You got to go to the next town hall. You got to get on a Zoom call, because I be on all kind of Zoom calls, calling them out. No. Jamal Bowman, you ain't compromising. If you compromise on this situation, boy, I'm gonna do whatever I can to call you out. I'm gonna put it on a flyer or whatever. I'll put in there. Jamal Bowman agrees with the Republicans. Allergies, boy. Now look, I'm done. Two blacker than black Negroes are selling you out. Now I know you expect Tim Scott to sell you out because he's that Negro. He got his white wife, he living over there in Bougieville, and he got all these up on a leash, and and they accept them. That's their Negro. But you don't think that happens on the Democratic side? Well, it does. The problem is they got more Negroes on their side that does the same thing as Tim. James Clyburn said America's not racist. Kamala Harris said America's not racist. And I'm quite sure there's a lot of other Democrats that believe this country is not racist. Now, believe me, we're not as racist as we used to be. But we're still racist. They still lynching people. The lynching laws haven't really been implemented. They still murdering mostly black people with impunity, but yet they go after everybody else too. We're still a target. They're trying to make it where we can't even offend the police officers. They're trying to make that a criminal offense. Any way where we begin to take the leverage, any way where we build a consensus and we detach ourselves from political parties and become our own bloc and we start pushing our own agenda aggressively, because believe me, we are the number one people that's empowering both of these parties. We can either make you or break you. We can either make you or break you. But you got to strike with iron is hot, black people, because Latinos are growing and they're going to be the power in the next 10 years. And I agree with Joe Biden on that. They're growing in power. Sad part is this. A lot of people from the Asian community, from the Latino community, from the Jewish community, they use their power and get things done because they show no allegiance to a political party. Now, sure, Latinos are getting just as bad as us blacks, showing allegiance to the Democratic Party. Stop. Detach yourself away from the party and see what these political parties will do for you. Until then, they ain't doing jack for you. But I promise you, like Malcolm X said, detach yourself from these political parties and you become your own political party. You'll watch them bend the knee because they'll do whatever they can for that vote. Proof is in the pudding. They trying to get more Asians on their side, and they going all out with the Asian. First it was Asian hate. Now it's Asian Pacific Island. They done add up a whole bunch of more stuff. Soon they gonna put the Muslim nations up here. Not Muslim nations. Stop. I need to stop. Middle Easterners, because not all Middle Easterners are Muslims. But people that are Middle Eastern descent and Indian descent are Asians. They just starting to put that on as a piece of advertising to get an agenda moved. The only way you're going to get something done is you can't show no allegiance. And the best way you can show no allegiance is detach yourself from these parties. Put yourself in a position where you're not part of the Democratic Party. You're not part of the Republican Party. Don't mean you won't vote Democrat. Don't mean you won't vote Republican. They need to change the laws. They shouldn't force you to be part of a party in order to vote for somebody in the primaries, because it's not that way when you vote for somebody in the general. But it is. Open primaries should be the law, but it's not. And until you stop showing allegiance to people who ain't showing you your allegiance, and the proof is in this, when a black man can say, we'll compromise, and you got a black woman who say, well, every time we compromise, we die. I ain't compromising. That fool could compromise, but I ain't compromising. Well, the only way you can fix that is you fix them. And the only way you can fix them is take a page out of Malcolm X's books. Stop showing these people allegiance. Show your allegiance to your people above anybody, just like everybody else. Show your allegiance to your people. Don't mean you don't love everybody else. Don't mean you're not concerned about everybody else, but your allegiance is to your people. And once you show your strength as a people, you'll get things done more than showing allegiance to a party. How do I know? Ask Tammy Duckworth. She got more done for Asians during this COVID crisis than we as black people have done in the past 10 years. I hate to even say 20. All right, so I'm done. All right, so let's see who is up here, baby. I usually don't check these. All right. Playing drum, what's up? Joseph Faint, what's up? What's up, Marco, my homeboy? What's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for being on. Marco, my boy, man. Marco is a diehard socialist, and he teach me a lot about socialism. Kevin Trevi, you're right. Clyburn is a traitor. I'm not going to read all these comments because Jennifer Collins, thank you for being on. And Jack Glass, dang, gotta put on my bifocals. Jack Glastrup. All right, thank you, Jack. I don't drink beer, but I appreciate the donation. I really do. It goes back into the equipment, and I don't know. I might get some. Might get a salad with that tomorrow. Brother on the diet. Anyway, I'm Robert Brown, Bobby with the Bobby Brown Show. I want to thank everybody for being on. I'll see you this Sunday. I appreciate you, and always remember this: go out there and make a mark on the world that cannot be erased. A good mark, not a skid mark, okay? A good mark on the world that cannot be erased. If you have not done that yet, you can start doing that today. And hey, I love you guys. Have a good rest of the week. Good morning and good night.